I get it, you're staring at a stack of UPS specs, wondering if you're about to drop $3 grand on a unit that will sit idle, or if it will actually keep your network gear, workstation, or home lab humming when the lights flicker. The fear of buying the wrong backup power solution is real, especially when you've got a rack full of servers, a pricey audio interface, or a home office setup that can't afford even a minute of downtime. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Tripp Lite SMX3000XLRT2U is positioned as a 3 kVA line interactive UPS that can be mounted in a rack or used as a tower. That dual mount flexibility is the first thing that separates it from a lot of the cheaper consumer-grade models that force you into one form factor. It's built for environments where you might have a 19-inch rack in the basement, but also need to pull it out for a quick test bench in a separate room. That kind of adaptability isn't just a marketing gimmick. It translates into real savings when you're juggling limited rack space and occasional field work. If you're the type of tech who runs a small server farm, a home lab with multiple virtualization hosts, or a professional audio studio with a rack of mixers, DSPs, and hard drives, this UPS hits a sweet spot. The 3000VA rating means it can handle roughly 2 kilowatts of continuous load, which is enough for a modest 2U server, a couple of network switches, and a UP-SPAC'd NAS. In practice, I've seen people wire a 2U Proxmox box, a 48-port switch, and a Synology DS1621 Plus into a similar-sized unit and still have around 10-15 minutes of runtime at full load. That window is enough to let you gracefully shut down VMs or switch over to a generator without panic. On the flip side, if you're a gamer with a single desktop and a couple of monitors, you probably don't need a 9-outlet rack mount unit. A smaller 600VA desktop UPS would cover your needs for far less money and with a simpler footprint. The SMX3000XL's 9 outlets are great for grouping devices servers on the battery-backed sockets, networking gear on the surgeonly sockets, but that also means you have to plan your wiring carefully. Plugging a high-draw GPU power supply directly into the UPS can quickly exceed its capacity, so you'll still need a separate line for the GPU or other power-hungry components. One practical strength of the Tripp Lite is its line interactive topology. Unlike cheap standby models that simply switch to battery the instant power dips, line interactive UPSs correct minor voltage fluctuations on the fly. In regions where the grid is a bit wobbly, that can protect delicate power supplies from the sort of brownout that silently degrades components over time. Users who have lived through a storm season in the Midwest report that the unit kept their networking gear alive through the whole event, giving them a chance to reboot routers and keep VoIP phones running. A hidden trade-off, however, is the absence of a power cord in the box. Tripp Lite assumes you'll have a compatible IEC C13/C14 cord, but that's an extra purchase you might overlook until the UPS arrives. It's not a huge cost, usually around $10–$15, but it's one more piece of the puzzle that can cause a delay when you need to get the unit online fast. Also, because the UPS is designed for 230V input, you'll need to make sure your site's power distribution matches that voltage. In the US, that means using a step-up transformer or a dedicated 230V circuit, which adds complexity and cost. Another nuance is the management interface. The SMX3000XL comes with a basic LCD panel that shows load, battery status, and estimated runtime, but it doesn't have a built-in network card for remote monitoring out of the box. You can add a USB-to Ethernet adapter, but that's an additional accessory. For a server room that relies on SNMP alerts and centralized power management, the lack of native network monitoring can be a minor annoyance. Still, for most small businesses or serious hobbyists, the local display and optional USB connectivity to a management PC are sufficient. When you factor in the price, roughly $650–$700, depending on the retailer, you're paying for a unit that can protect a medium-sized rack, give you decent runtime, and survive a few voltage sags without tripping. The value isn't just in the raw VA rating. It's in the confidence that your critical equipment won't shut down the moment the utility hiccups. If you've ever lost an unsaved database or missed a deadline because a power outage knocked out your workstation, that peace of mind can be worth the investment. In summary, the Tripp Lite SMX3000XLRT2U makes sense if you have a multi-device rack, need the flexibility to pull the unit out as a tower, and operate in an environment where voltage irregularities are a real concern. It's overkill for a single desktop, but hits the mark for a small server room, a home lab, or a professional studio that can fill those 9 outlets with equipment that truly needs battery backup. Skip it.